Hello, so we are just going to continue from where we ended. So we are still looking at this wonderful topic. So this is biology, one of the interesting subjects that one needs to understand. So it's one of my favorite subjects, and just want to explain on we are dealing with cell specialization, and a white blood cell is one of the specialized cell. So it has got its own specific function. So the function of a white blood cell, so whenever we are talking about the function of white blood cells, you need to understand that one of the functions is that these ones get to defend. So they defend the what? They defend the body. So you need to understand that these ones get to defend the body against what? Against infections. This is what you are supposed to know. This is something you need to understand. So I just want to start from white blood cells, and we continue going like that. So you understand that these ones defend or get to fight diseases in the body. You just need to know that they defend, or they do what? They fight. They fight what? They fight infections or diseases in the body. So this is what you are supposed to know. The other thing you need to understand that we've got types. We've got types of what? Types of white blood cells. We've got types of white blood cells. These types of white blood cells, you need to make sure that you understand them clearly even as you enter into an exam. So the types of white blood cells that we get to have, we only have two. The first one, there's what we call a lymphocyte. There's what we call a lymphocyte. Secondly, there is also what we get to call a phagocyte. This is what you are supposed to understand. These are the two types of white blood cells. We've got a lymphocyte as well as a phagocyte. These are the two types of white blood cells. The first one that we are going to start with, we'll start with a phagocyte. So I want you to understand this. I want you to know this. So we've got a phagocyte. What is the function of a phagocyte? From the word phagocyte, you need to understand that these ones get to fight. So they fight what? They fight, you need to understand that they fight diseases. They fight diseases in the body. So they fight diseases in the body by engulfing. So what they are doing is that they are engulfing the what? Engulfing the bacteria. They are engulfing the bacteria. Or so let me do this, bacteria like this. The bacteria, or I can just say foreign what? Foreign bodies. This is what I want you to understand. So these are cardinal things that you are supposed to know. So to some people, we are just revising through these things, and I just want to make sure that you are able to understand what I am teaching you. So I'm telling you that a phagocyte, this is a type of a white blood cell that fight diseases in the body by engulfing the bacteria. So what they do is that they engulf, like they get to hug. If this is a bacteria like this, so they say, okay, this is a bacteria. So what they are going to do is that they are going to engulf like this. They are going to put the bacteria there on the middle. So once they put the bacteria there on the middle, so once they put the bacteria on the middle like that, you need to know that that's when now this bacteria will lose its strength to the point that it cannot even cause any harm to the body. So they get to fight the what? The bacterias or foreign bodies by engulfing. This is what you are supposed to know and understand. Aside engulfing, they also fight by digesting these germs. So this is what you are supposed to know. Since we are talking about cell specialization, we also need to understand what we call adaptation. One of its adaptation of a phagocyte. So you need to understand that these ones, one of their adaptations is that they have no fixed shape, but they can change their shape, making engulfing of foreign bodies possible. This is what you are supposed to know. They also have a robbed nucleus. So the nucleus that is like this. This is what we mean. A nucleus that is like that, where engulfing can be possible. So this is what you are supposed to know. This is something you need to understand. So they have got that type of a nucleus which makes engulfing possible or easy. So which makes what? Engulfing. So I'll say which makes engulfing. So which makes engulfing possible, or I can say easy. This is what you are supposed to know. This is something you need to understand. Aside knowing this one, you also need to understand that these ones, they get to, like the ones that I've talked about, is that, so if you forget this one, you can also put this one where you just say that they have no fixed shape. They have what? They have no fixed shape. These ones don't have a what? They don't have a fixed shape. Since they don't have a fixed shape, you discover that engulfing of foreign bodies is possible like that. This is what you are supposed to know. This is something you need to understand. So this is to tell you that they can change their shapes. Today it is like this. Today it is like that. So you now discover that if we were to write a phagocyte, the way a phagocyte is, we are going to draw a phagocyte. So this is a white blood cell. To be specific, this is a phagocyte. So a nucleus that is like this. A nucleus is like that. Have you seen how this nucleus is? So this one is the what? This one is a nucleus. This is how a nucleus is. Since this one is a nucleus, so I'll say that one is a what? A nucleus. We also understand that this one is cytoplasm. So it is cytoplasm. We also know that this one is cell membrane. I guess we all know the function of these parts that I've written here. That is one of the basic knowledge that one needs to understand. So this is something that is so easy to understand. This is something you just need to get. So if questions get to come like this in an exam, you just need to understand them like this. This is so simple. So you are able to tell, okay, it is like this, or this one is like this. So these are simple things that we are supposed to know. These are simple things that we need to understand. Aside knowing a phagocyte, there is also what we call a lymphocyte. I said we've got two types of what? Said that we have two types of white blood cells. The first one is called a lymphocyte and phagocyte. So I've just explained a phagocyte. We also need to look at a lymphocyte. Under a lymphocyte, somebody is saying, where are you located? So myself, I'm from Kabwe Central Province. To be specific, I reside in High Ridge, just near Banker's Nest. That's where I get to conduct my tuitions from. But I also do online lessons. So let us look at a phagocyte, a lymphocyte. So we go to a lymphocyte. So a lymphocyte, whenever we are talking about a lymphocyte, you know that this is a white blood cell. Both of them, they fight diseases in the body. But in the way in which they get to fight diseases in the body gets to differ. So this is what you need to understand. This one, it fights diseases. So this is what I'm going to do. Fights diseases. So it's fight diseases in the body, fight diseases in the what? In the body by producing. So what it does is that it is going to produce what? antibodies. It is going to produce antibodies and antitoxins. So antitoxins. This is what you need to understand. Somebody saying, well explained. Thank you so much. So what you need to know is that this lymphocyte, it is going to fight diseases in the body by producing antibodies and antitoxins. These two things are protein in nature. So the antibodies and antitoxins, these ones are protein in nature. This is what you need to understand. They are protein in nature. And you also need to understand that when I say this is an antibody, you just need to understand that this is a protein that destroys germs. So it is a protein, since you said that they both fight diseases, so now what's the difference? The difference is that a lymphocyte fight by producing. So this one is going to produce what? It is going to produce antibodies. But a phagocyte, it is going to engulf. Have you seen like this? We've got the police officers. We've got police officers and soldiers. They both make sure that there is order in the country. But in the way they do that gets to differ. Same applies with this. Both of them fight diseases in the body. But this one, it is going to fight those diseases by producing antibodies and antitoxins. But a phagocyte, it is going to fight diseases in the body by engulfing the bacteria. I guess you know the difference now. They both fight, but in the way they get to fight those diseases gets to differ. So whenever we are talking about these antibodies, so antibodies gets to destroy what? Germs. But antitoxins, what they are going to do is that they are going to neutralize poison from the germs. Have you seen? So these ones are going to neutralize the poison from the germs. But for this one, it is going to destroy the bacteria or a foreign body. This is what we are supposed to know. This is something we need to understand. So this is all that you need to know. And you discover that the way this one is, its adaptation. So when I go to its adaptation, you need to know that the adaptation is that it has a presence of a large nucleus. So this is something you are supposed to know. There is a presence of a large nucleus. Presence of a what? Presence of a large nucleus. So we've got the presence of a large nucleus. It is like this. This is how it is. So I'm going to draw something like this to make you understand. And the nucleus is like this. This is how big the nucleus is. Have you seen? So let me just do this. This is a nucleus. This is how a nucleus is. So I just want you to get this. I just want us to have the full knowledge or understanding. So this one is the nucleus. So the nucleus is big. Then we've got the cytoplasm here. The cytoplasm gets to contain a small space. Have you seen? So you discover that we've got a thin cytoplasm. A thin cytoplasm. This one is a cell membrane. I guess we know. That one is a cell membrane. So this is how they are. And I guess you are able to tell the difference between the two. So this is what we are supposed to know. This is what we need to understand. We also get to have another specialized cell. So when I say adaptation, something that makes them perform their function. Let us now go to another specialized cell. So we now go to another specialized cell. So I guess you are able to get one or two things from what I'm teaching you. We go to another one. So another one is called, we get to call it a parasite, like this. This is how it is. So we get to call it a parasite cell. So a parasite cell. So you need to understand, okay, since this one is a parasite cell, What is the function? So the function, it is just to do what? The function is just to carry out photosynthesis. So the function is just to carry out photosynthesis. This is what you need to understand. So its function is just to carry out photosynthesis. I guess we know what photosynthesis is and the equation, everything that is involved. The good part with biology is that it deals with things that you get to interact with. So photosynthesis, I can expand this. I guess you can also expand this to explain the photosynthesis whenever there is sunlight in dark what, or you can expand that. So the function of this is just to carry out what? Photosynthesis. This is what you need to understand. What are its adaptation? What is the adaptation of these cells? So the adaptation of these cells, something that makes them perform their function. You discover that the protoplasm is partly lost, leaving behind some cytoplasmic strains. This is what you are supposed to know. So I'm saying that if it is like this, a parasite is like this. So it looks like a plant cell like this. This is how it is. So it is like this. It looks like a plant cell. So let me just draw it and try to remember some. Okay, so it is like this. So let me just draw it like this. There is a nucleus there. So the way it is that one of its adaptation, I would say it has a high concentration, a high what? High concentration. So I would say a high concentration of chloroplast. High concentration of what? Chloroplast. I guess you know chloroplast is one thing that makes it possible for photosynthesis to take place. So labeling, I guess we are able to label this. Maybe there is some who can't label. Let me just label. This is like this. So it is supposed to have a cell since it is a plant cell. So it is like this. This is a cell wall. This is a cell membrane. So this is a cell membrane. These are some things. That is a vacuum. We also have other parts. Which other else? Nucleus. Okay. So we've got cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is here. This part here. So let me draw something like this. I'm saying high concentration of chloroplast. So let me draw it like this so that it matches with what I'm saying like this. This is how it is. Let me draw it like that so that it matches with what I'm saying. We've got some chloroplast here. These are chloroplast like this. So these ones we are calling them what? Chloroplast. These two things. So we are calling them what? Chloroplast. Then this part, they are just that part, this part. Okay, that is a what? A cytoplasm. Guess we know that. That is what? Cytoplasm. So this is something you are supposed to know. You discover that the cells are longer vertically than horizontally. Have you seen? The cells are longer what? Vertically than horizontally. Why is it like this? You discover that this gets to allow chloroplasts to migrate upwards or downwards so that the light intensity changes as they are not damaged by excess light. So this is the reason why they are like this and not like this, so that this can be moving like that. Have you seen? So this is what you are supposed to know. This is something you need to understand. So these are some of the things that I want you people to know. These are some of the things that you are supposed to know. The good part is that with biology, you can even do some research on these things so that you get to have a full understanding. Aside knowing this, let us look at another cell. So another cell, let me do another cell that I'm going to look at. It is called a Phloem cell. phloem cell. So a phloem cell, you are supposed to understand that a phloem cell, this one, its function, it is just to transport manufactured food from one part of the plant to another. So the function of this is just to transport. So transportation, I would say transportation of food. Transportation of food from one part, so from one part of the plant, from one part of the plant to another, from one part of the plant to another. This is what you need to understand. This is the function of these phloem cells. It's their adaptation. You need to understand that they get to have a presence of a companion cell. So adaptation of these are simple things that you can even remember in an exam. So you understand that one of its adaptation is it has a presence. So say presence of what? Presence of a companion. There is a presence of a companion cell. So companion cells which supply phloem cells with enzymes, and so these ones, let me just finish this so that you try to understand. So I'm saying that these ones, there is a presence of a companion cells which gets to supply. So which supply, so this is what you need to understand. They get to supply what? Supply the phloem cells. So say the phloem cells with enzymes, with the enzymes and ATP. This is what you are supposed to know. So this is something you need to understand. It is like this. The way it is, though I'm not good at drawing, so it is like this. This is how it is, like this. It is like this. This is how it is. Have you seen like this? So it is like this. This is how it is. There is this part there, nucleus like that. Have you seen? This is how it is. So you get to have questions like this in an exam. You can have a question that will come under this part. What is the difference between a phloem and a xylem? So whenever we are talking about, when I say this is a xylem, so when we are talking about a xylem, you need to understand that a xylem cell is, though these ones, I think I'll just even touch on that matter on a xylem, because these two things, they get to be like more like the same somehow. So I'll also touch on the xylem cell, and these I will try to give a difference between these two things. Okay, so let me just finish up this. So I was saying that the way this one is, there is this part that is here. We've got this part. So these parts here, these ones that looks like dotted. So we get to call them what? Sleeve plates. This is what you need to understand. Then this part that is here, this is what we are calling a companion cell. So we are calling it what? A companion cell. Then we also have these things that are here. These ones, they are like these ones like that. Have you seen? So these ones are called sleeve tubes. So say sleeve what? Sleeve tubes. This is what we are supposed to know. These are some of the things that we are supposed to get and understand. So I guess we are getting something. We are able to understand these things. So this is what we are supposed to know. We need to make sure that we are able to answer questions that do come in an exam under this part that is here. So this is what we are supposed to know. This is something we need to get, and we need to make sure that we are able to know this. We are able to understand everything that we get to talk about. So let's make sure that we get to know questions that do come in an exam under this part that is here. Okay, so I guess we are back. The network started misbehaving. So what we need to understand between these two, when I say that this is a xylem cell, let me do this, and we also have a phloem cell this side. So we've got a xylem and a phloem cell this side. So you need to understand that when I say this one is a xylem, you need to understand that a xylem is just a complex tissue in plants that is made up of different types of cells. But when we go to let's say when we say xylem cells, these ones are individual cells that make up xylem xylem tissues. This is what we are supposed to know. This is something that we need to understand. So if we now differentiate them with phloem, so when we say a xylem cell and a phloem cell, we basically need to understand that xylem will transport and store water and water soluble nutrients in those vascular plants. So this one, it is going to transport. So xylem, it is doing what? It is transporting. So this one, it is going to transport water. So it is going to transport water and store. So it transports and store. This one, it is going to transport and store. But when we go to a phloem, this phloem is only responsible for transporting of sugars, proteins, and other organic molecules. So I guess you know the difference. This one, a xylem cell, is just responsible for this one will transport water and store water. But this one, a phloem, is responsible for transportation of sugars, proteins, and other things that get to be involved. So I guess we know that. I don't know if this is clear. This is clear. So this one, transportation of water, gets to store water, but this one is just responsible for transporting sugars, proteins, and other organic molecules. So this is what we are supposed to understand under this part. So I don't know if this is clear, sir. Just waiting for your confirmation. I don't know if this is clear. Okay, we now proceed to another type of a specialized cell. So another type of a specialized cell, we are going to end with a guard cell. So I'll say we can call it a guard cell. So okay, it is clear. Okay, thank you so much. So when we go to a guard cells, these guard cells, you discover that these are a pair of cells that get to surround each stoma. So I'll say these are pairs. So I'll say these are pairs. So pairs of what? Pairs of cells that surrounds, that get to surround. They get to surround each what? Each stoma. This is what we are supposed to know. This is something that you need to understand. So these things are just simple like this. As long as you are able to get what I am saying here, then you are able to understand this. Maybe someone doesn't know what a stoma is. So whenever we are talking about a stoma, we are just talking about this is more like, so when I say this, it's more like an opening. Have you seen? It's more like an opening. This is a best thing that I can use. So I can say it is more like an opening. If I was to use my own words, I would say this is more like an opening. So it's more like an opening. So we just call it an opening. It's a stoma. So it's more like an opening in the word abdomen. In the I can which word can I use? So I can just say, but this it's just an opening. So these are pairs of cells that surrounds those stomas. These stomas are what? Some openings. Don't know if people are getting this. Some what? Some openings. So this is what you are supposed to know. And one of their function of these cells is that they get to control the size of the stoma. These ones. So one of their function. The good part is that even as we get to advance in these, you are going to understand these ones better. They do what? They get to control. So I'll say they get to control the size of the stoma. This is what you are supposed to know and understand. This is how they are. This is how you need to understand. So one of their adaptation is that their cell walls are thicker around the stoma than anywhere else. This is one of their adaptations. So the good part with this, I'm going to do this so that you try to understand. These ones are some kind of difficult to draw, but the best way, if you have a picture of this, it is very easy to understand them. So what I can do is I will ask everyone to just look at this type of a cell on the internet. To just take a look at it, understand some adaptations and how it gets to operate, so that you know how these terms get to work out. So this is where we are going to end from. So I guess you've learned one or two things, and guess we've revised through some questions. You are able to answer some of the questions that can come in an exam.